Hi guys, I'm Angela Clarke and today I'm going to be doing a publication review of Corrie Jackson's latest, which is called The Perfect Victim, which is out today. Husband, friend, colleague, killer. Charlie and Emily Swift are the Instagram perfect couple, gorgeous, successful and in love. But then Charlie is named as the prime suspect in a gruesome murder and Emily's world falls apart. Desperate for answers, she turns to Charlie's troubled best friend, London Herald journalist Sophie Kent. Sophie knows the police have the wrong man. She trusts Charlie with her life. Then Charlie flees. Sophie puts her reputation on the line to clear his name. But as she's drawn deeper into Charlie and Emily's unravelling marriage, she realises that there is nothing perfect about the Swifts. As she begins to question Charlie's innocence, something happens that blows the investigation and their friendship apart. Now, Sophie isn't just fighting for justice, she's fighting for her life. This is the second in the Sophie Kent novels and the second novel that Corrie Jackson has written. Corrie previously worked for Glamour magazine as a journalist and as somebody else who is now a crime writer and comes from the women's commercial fashion industry. I'm delighted to have a fellow, I'm going to say girly girl, I hate that phrase, I don't know, a fellow fashion lover, I guess, coming across to the dark side. Corrie's first book, the first Sophie Kent novel, which was called Breaking Dead, was fantastic. I absolutely adored it. I read it all in one sitting. This works perfectly well as a standalone and you don't need to read Breaking Dead first, and you could also read them out of sequence if you wanted to and it would be fine, but it's well worth taking a look at as well. I read The Perfect Victim in one sitting throughout the entire day. I was so gripped that I couldn't finish it fast enough. It's fantastic. It's so twisty. I love a crime novel where the main character isn't a police detective. I love those as well, but it's nice to shake things up a little bit. And you really get the feeling with Sophie Kent, who is an interesting character in herself. So for a start, she's from a wealthy and affluent background and she's quite posh. And to be honest, that's quite unusual within kind of contemporary crime novels. It tends to be more kind of maybe middle or working class, whereas Sophie Kent is kind of, well, I mean, she's properly minted, you know, private boarding schools, and her dad owns a massive kind of conglomerate. And so she's coming at things from a very, very different perspective, which I really enjoy, actually, and I think it works really well. If that sounds like it's going to put you off about the character, you shouldn't feel like that at all, because Sophie is a down-to-earth, messed up and complex character. And throughout The Perfect Victim and Breaking Dead, the previous book, she discusses, and there's no spoilers to say this, the relationship, the very troubled relationship which she has with her brother, who is a drug addict and has had issues with drug addiction throughout it. She doesn't have a perfect family life and a perfect family background herself, and you think that really kind of maybe drives her character and makes her out to kind of prove herself and her own worth, regardless of any kind of familial like success or support that she could claim on, which she doesn't. I don't know if Corrie ever worked as a door knocker, as doing the dead knock as a journalist, people who go and collect stories from people's families, who if somebody's been killed, etc. But this whole book and the previous one feels really realistic. It really does feel like you're within a newsroom. It's very authentic in that sense. And I love that angle on this. I love that Sophie is hunting down a story, but also doing it for good reasons. Increasingly in today's society, journalists are getting a bad rep, and this kind of harks back to the glory days, in a sense, of when journalists were journalists because they thought it was a good thing to do, because they wanted to uncover the truth, because they believed in justice, because they believed in righting wrongs that have taken place and blowing the cover of big stories. It's a fascinating unravelling of a case. All the way through you're gripped. Sophie goes off in loads of different directions. It encompasses loads of different kind of themes and loads of different kind of things going on. There is one incredibly shocking moment, well there's more than one, but there's one really deeply shocking moment which I did not see coming, and it was very difficult to read, but the impact emotionally of that and on to Sophie the character, the main character, is fantastic. It's handled so well by Corrie, and it really, really aligns you with Sophie, and really, you really feel for her and what she's going through. Towards the end, I thought it was going to go in one direction and then it went in a different direction, and I can't say too much without giving anything away, and I don't want to do that. But there is a twist on an idea that sometimes reoccurs in crime novels, which is really interestingly and cleverly done. I loved it. It was a rip-roaring read. I actually genuinely broke a nail. I was gripping the book so tightly when I read it. It's brilliant. You'll love Sophie Kent. She's a great character and I can't wait to see where this is going next. That is The Perfect Victim by Corrie Jackson, which is out today.